Welcome back, friends. LostScarf here, and it's time for us to have basically a podcast with Verbalosity again.
Hi, it's me. Everything's popping off right now. There's actually a surprising amount to talk about. We were just prepping before the show, and we might want to get straight into it because there's a billion and one things happening in the world.
But which one's to talk about? I don't even... like.
Probably the stupidest. Let's go with the stupidest right out of the gate. So,
even that.
As of recording, we are recording this right now, just to preface this, on the 13th of January 2018, at my time, it's 50 minutes past 8 GMT, just to dress the setting.
I'll just say 12:15 p.m. West Coast.
Yes. And do you want to take this or shall I? Which one of us can make this sound less stupid?
Are we talking about the missile?
Yes, we're talking about the missile.
Oh, yeah, okay. So Hawaii got nuked. No, it didn't.
False alarm.
I have the exact message here. Where is it? The exact message. Here it is. Emergency alerts. Emergency alert. Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. 38 minutes later. There is no missile threat or danger to the state of Hawaii. Repeat, false alarm. Oh, jeez.
For those of you that don't know who are just listening to this in the background, this came up as like a forced message on everyone's phone in Hawaii. They have like a governmental like emergency broadcast system. But this is the same system they would say use in Japan. It's a very similar looking system. You ever saw like the North Korean missiles that went over the country. So this is like, hang on, this is not a drill. Everyone's freaking out for 10 minutes until the retraction was issued. The excuse was the worst part. And I quote, there was an error during a shift change where someone hit the wrong button. Okay.
Well, why is there no, are you sure? Why is there no, are you sure? Like, he's like, are you sure? And he still hit it. And he's like, yeah, I'm sure the missile's coming. I was like, holy crap, I don't...
Why does selling a rare item in a video game have more protections than hitting an emergency nuke warning button?
Good question. I'm glad not Hawaii. That must have been, oh my god.
Yeah. The reason we were so, like, amped about it, because it came up just as we were getting ready, within, like, the past hour.
It's just like, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, wow. It's crazy. That's pretty crazy. It's in the time we live in, we believe anything's possible. Including nuclear annihilation.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
But on to video games.
Yes, we're here to talk about video games and figurative nuclear annihilation, not actual nuclear annihilation. Thank you very much. I wish there was news on Metro, but there's other things. What are we talking about?
There's going to be the nuclear annihilation of our time, potentially, by the end of this month, because there is a boatload of things coming out that are a lot of betas, but also releases towards the end of January.
Very much. My entire 3-4 day weekend, depends on if I want to go to work on Monday, is going to be Dragon Ball FighterZ. That's all it's going to be.
All right.
On the exact same day as Monster Hunter World, which is not on PC until autumn.
Yeah,
It's on everything but PC until autumn.
Yeah, I'm picking it up on the Xbox One X, and I'm going to be... That's where most of our friends are at, so we're going to be doing a Monster Hunter party in that, and just generally going at it. Nice. I've been very excited for this. The only game I've been sort of actively like waiting and counting the days down was For Honor, ironically, around this time last year. So,
February.
There's usually a game during the end of January, early February that I always end up sort of just like waiting in a holding pattern and not doing much until it comes out.
Yeah, like that's what Monster Hunter World was until I found out it's on PC in the autumn. So, yeah. And it's because they've never done a PC game before, so they want to do it right. I'm like, damn, that's...
And there's actually an article, and let me see if I can pull it up quickly. Basically, the TLDR of it is they talked about why they wanted to take so bloody long with a PC port was because, hey, we've never done a PC port before. We want to take our time so we don't muck it up and get it up to a good standard, please, which is good. A developer actually said, okay, this is something we don't do. We mainly do mobile or like lower end consoles. Already jumping to high-end consoles is a big thing. Then going to PC, which is like the Wild West of development, when it comes to like having to configure so much stuff. Like I'm happy they're actually taking that much time. I mean, of course, Scarf is probably fuming in salt because he has to wait that long to get it. But, you know, it's for the best.
Yeah. They're not trying to Dark Souls 1 it. They're trying not to be Dark Souls 1, because holy crap, was that a thing.
Although...
But it's like, oh my god, I gotta wait. But here's the thing. If they're gonna take that long, it's gonna be the superior version. because they're not gonna like if they're doing this, they're not gonna go like, oh hey, it's done, not really, and then they'll release it. They're not gonna freaking Unity this.
Are you sure Dark Souls 1 is the appropriate metaphor, considering that, ironically enough, during one of the latest mini Nintendo Directs, Dark Souls 1 is getting a remaster, and one of the versions is coming to PC.
It won't apply anymore, but yes, it was bad then.
Yes.
But now it's getting a remaster, so that'll be awesome, and it's gonna be on the Switch. And
how many broken Switches do you anticipate we're gonna
have? None, because no one. They better not be that dumb, because oh my god, Switch is a pricey item.
F this Taurus demon. Oh dear.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I think there are going to be some thrown Switches. I legitimately think someone's going to throw their Switch.
I'm going to say thrown Joy-Cons. At least thrown Joy-Cons. But
thrown Joy-Cons.
If they throw their Switch, they deserve whatever pain they feel after that. Because oh my god.
Dark Souls on a Joy-Con. It's like playing it on a Wiimote. It's like, why?
I am.
Surely just get a
if that thing
controller.
Has motion controls, I'm doing it.
Why use a Joy-Con when you can just use a actual controller?
Because I've already played it with an actual controller. I don't care about playing with a controller again. I got a PC for that. I'm going to Joy-Con it. If I can motion control, which is the best motion controls we've gotten at this time,
although
I'm doing that.
Actually, let me clarify. Are you going to be using the screen over there and two Joy-Cons like this, or holding the screen in your hands?
Well, if you're holding the screen in your hands, you're not going to be able to do motion controls.
Well, if you're holding the screen in your hands, you are technically using the Joy-Cons, but they're on the sides, which sort of makes sense. Are you going to be doing like the Wii style?
No, that I'm hoping they have motion controls, because I haven't looked into it.
Because that makes sense. Like, holding them on the TV screen with two little Joy-Cons. It's like, why do this? It's really hard to use the analog sticks. Just use a controller.
It is a controller, though. It's a very free controller. Dude, it is the funnest thing to do whatever the hell I want and just rock the house. It is the funnest thing to have those Joy-Con controls. I don't need to be right here. I don't need to be here. I can be wherever I want and scratch the back of my head and wreck fools at the same time. It is a fun thing about having Joy-Cons.
Wait, hang on.
Beautiful.
It'll still work even if it's not together. You can hold them apart and it'll still.
They're all over the damn place. Oh. They're in my bag. You can hold them wherever you want. It's the most beautiful thing. Awesome.
The Switch has been killing it, and the more and more I hear about it, the more and more I feel like I need all three generations of console, because all generations are knocking stuff out of the park now.
I can't wait for not Get Out, A Way Out. Is that the one from the guy who made Two Brothers? The Prison Break game.
Yeah, A Way Out. The guy who went off on the Game Awards. That dude.
That was awesome. He had to be drunk. There's no way.
Possible.
He was so nuts.
I'm not sure if you talked about this on a prior, basically a podcast, but there was the leaked EA marketing stuff that labeled him as a potential PR liability, so they had to keep the reins on him.
Guaranteed. After what he did, guaranteed. After they're this guy's going crazy. He is a liability, but he's hilarious. And he hasn't done anything wrong yet, as far as I can tell.
Apart from screen fuck the Oscars multiple times.
Which was awesome, because fuck the Oscars. Come on.
I imagine the DMs of Jeff Keighley got lit up by people in the business who was the drunk bastard on your show?
Like the Oscars care anyway. Video game movies suck.
God,
Tomb Raider movie coming.
I saw that trailer for it during the Star Wars movie, during Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I
don't. They're recreating the remake.
Yes.
In movie form, and the scene with not Simon Pegg, the other guy,
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost. Yeah, the scene with him where she's buying guns from him. That's the final scene in the movie. That's basically what that is. That's after Lara Croft has become the Tomb Raider. So we know she ain't gonna die in this, which it would be the boldest move to kill Lara Croft.
You know what they should do? They should go full meta and just include some sort of weird mystical time rewinding mechanic so we can get a shot-for-shot remake of some of the grisly deaths from the remake. Like getting impaled on the tree when you're going down the slide, the rocks falling on Lara.
God.
That would be the ultimate bait and switch.
Ooh.
I mean, you get an R rating instantly, but it will be hilarious.
It would be interesting if they did that, because she dies so... even even if you don't get killed in the game, the damage he takes is just mortal wounds everywhere. She should be dead so many times. Like, the whole thing is a fever dream as she's bleeding out. That's what the games are.
She sat next to that Scottish dude's body the whole time, just like, what is happening?
The second one, the second game out of the
What's it called?
The reimaginings.
Rise of the Tomb Raider? Rise of the Tomb Raider, thank you. Yeah. With a really good snow.
In that one, in like the first mission, she's on like an ice climb, and she just, bam, gets bashed into the ice wall, and like, oh, she's dead. Oh,
concussion immediately.
She just dies. Yeah, like, she's Quadra, or at least Para. She's done. Like, what? You're telling me she hit that and she's still going? Okay, the Tomb Raider actually is just she's immortal or something. She's got something special going on. I really feel like the first game, after you play it, that the big twist should have been, oh, you're actually an immortal, Laura. You actually can't be killed. Like, every time you die, you just go back in time. You can't, because she goes through the most ridiculous stuff. And if the movie lets her go through ridiculous stuff and survives, I think it'd be better. If it's over the top ridiculous,
I am expecting multiple Deus Ex Machinas in that film, and it's going to be gloriously bad.
I hope. I don't know. The best game movie everyone's thinking is gonna be Ready Player One, which is more kind of like Wreck-It Ralph, where it's inspired by games more so than a game.
I saw a counter movement against that, though. A lot of people didn't like it because it was just like, hey, look at this reference. Hey, look at this reference.
Exactly. That's the back and forth of it, and I'm on that side of it. I'm like, okay, this looks like it's just psychobabble, and I'm not a fan of psychobabble.
What's psychobabble?
But if people enjoy psychobabble, is just saying random shit, just a bunch of random stuff coming out of you. So it's just pop culture psychobabble. That's all it is. Just a torrent of pop culture. Something's going to hit you. Another one is shotgunning. It's basically cultural shotgunning. They're hitting you with everything in one big blast, and something's going to be something you're a fan of. That's what it is. And so I'm not a fan of that, because the idea of psychobabble doesn't make any sense. And it's the same way here, where it's like, we're just throwing all these references at you because we can. And there's no sense to it besides the fact that this is something everyone likes. That's all it is. So you got the Iron Giant, you got Tracer, you've got just every reference there. And in a way, it can be insulting. Like, Wreck-It Ralph did it beautifully. Everything was just, you have all these characters, but it's like a living, breathing world and everything's working out. And maybe Ready Player One will be that as well. Because right now, it's cynically, people who have not read the book just think it's just all this, like, hey, here's all these things so you to grab onto nostalgically. And I understand that argument. At the same time, give it a chance, I think. That's what I think. I don't know if it'll be good or not, but since it's not an actually video game movie, it might. Yeah. Since it's based on a book people like so much. But I don't know. It feels like cheap marketing when it's just like, hey, nostalgia.
It got a bit weird for me when the first trailer I saw, I was like, oh, cool, Chun-Li's there. That's interesting. Then the second version of the trailer, all of a sudden, Tracer's in it. Like, hold up. She wasn't in the first one. What's going on here? It's cool to see some more modern guys, but unless they go to some real deep and weird and interesting references, it feels a lot like just a giant marketing within a movie marketing scheme.
Yeah. And it's definitely gonna, I think if you come in with that mindset, you're gonna feel that. And if, I don't know. I think whatever mindset you come in with, you're gonna have that mindset when you come out. I don't think it's gonna, just thinking about movies in general, they usually don't change minds unless they're that good. Unless you're able to just be open and like, okay, I'm gonna just let it be what it is and see what I think after. But if you're painted in, you're just painted out. And we'll see about Ready Player One. For me, I'm gonna try to just not be cynical, but I'm like, just all these references, okay. But seeing what the movie's actually about, I'm like, oh, it's SAO. Okay. Alright. We'll see if it's any good. Speaking about Switch, though, with the mini direct, because we said Dark Souls, new Kirby, which I'm hype about.
Kirby Star Allies is the kind of name, and it's got some new abilities for him and stuff.
Oh, here's the big thing to be hype about, is the box art is a happy Kirby, not an angry Kirby who wants to murder everyone and everything, like it always is in the West. Oh my god. Like, if you go to the thread of just all the Kirby box arts, Japanese against Western, happy Kirby, angry Kirby, happy Kirby, angry Kirby, happy Kirby, I'm gonna kill your whole family Kirby. Like, it's every time. Like, Kirby's Air Ride is Kirby happily riding on a star In the West, he's angrily writing that stuff.
Hmm.
Like it's just always been Western marketing. You could look at the original the original commercials for Kirby. He's like, he's a bad boy. He's a bad little pink puff. He's gonna wreck your face. And it's like him and his little animal friends beating up bikers. You can find these on YouTube. It is the silliest thing, that divide there. But also Mario Tennis, which I'm so hyped for. It's going to have a story mode.
I'm looking through the detail page. Like, it's out on March 16th and everything. Is this a remake or is this a brand new title? Because it says the newest Kirby title comes to Nintendo Switch and console in HD, which would make me think it's like new. No, like it's a remake.
I think they're just saying HD because people don't believe in the Switch's power. That's all I could... that's the only thing I could think, because people don't think the Switch is very powerful. It's pretty good. It really... What Nintendo has always done is it's always pushed things not by graphics, but by what you can do with what you've got.
It's aesthetics over actual, like, technical stuff, like with almost every game, and it works. Although the exception to that for me is Zelda. Zelda is actually a real looker.
Well, yeah, they had the time. It was, of course, on Wii U, so it's a level down going up to Switch, so... Of course it made it look really good.
Now I'm talking like Breath of the Wild, though.
Yeah, that was Wii U first.
Wait, Breath of the Wild was Wii U first?
Yeah, the whole LP I did was on Wii U, not on Switch.
Hold up. I thought that was Switch exclusive. Am I going insane?
Breath of the Wild was the last hurrah for the Wii U.
Oh.
That's what it was.
Wii U. Oh my god, I thought it was Switch exclusive.
This is why Breath of the Wild was like in the top 3 or top 5, because it had the Wii U version well-reviewed and the Switch version well-reviewed. That's where the joke comes from.
Oh, okay.
That's why. And yes, but this has always been Nintendo's advantages. They're not going for just super good-looking stuff. They've always been kind of cartoony, so they're able to just be amazing while being cartoony and just doing other things instead of just pushing better graphics. That's always been their thing. And it's worked out for them pretty well, because they don't have to make higher-end things and put their price as high as the other consoles. Because it is a bigger chunk if you want to get the Xbox or if you want to get the PlayStation. That's for sure.
I'm looking through the rest of the lineup, and the first announcement was The World Ends With You remixed, final remix. And it's a classic RPG, I think. And I mean, cool. A lot of people seemed hyped, but that wasn't my cup of tea.
Yes, the 3DS. Yeah.
I hate auto-playing trailers. They can go die in a fire. The Nintendo website is auto-playing trailers on each announcement. Ugh, don't click on that.
There's some pretty good stuff coming out of there, and there's a lot of ports. And here's the thing. People are being... Every time Nintendo does something, it's very cynical. It's ridiculous. Like, Nintendo's dead. Nintendo's always dead.
Question, though. This was the thing for me. Apart from Dark Souls, they got, like, the biggest, like, oh shit reaction from the general public. Mario Tennis Aces, the Mario Tennis game. Why is Mario Tennis such a big deal? I've never heard of a Mario Tennis game.
Mario Tennis has been around since... It's been around since... was it 64? There was a Mario Tennis for the Virtual Boy. I can't remember what the first Mario Tennis was.
I'm looking on the site. It's like, and this time the game adds the first story mode since Mario Tennis game on Game Boy Advance.
There's just never been a story mode, which I'm hyped for alone. I remember there's GameCube. There's been a bunch of them. I can't remember the first one. You're saying Advance. Okay. It's just fun. It's what Mario does. Mario Kart made like racing ridiculous with items and everything. Mario Tennis is tennis, so you can play it technically, but you also have special power-up attacks. And so like Mario, of course, does a fireball kind of attack. Luigi more with his vacuum. And things like that, and it's really fun and hilarious. And tennis has always been a fun game, and when there was no Wii U version, people were sad. When there was no Wii version, people were sad. Like, the Wii one was a port of the GameCube one. And so people wanted Mario Tennis for 2 consoles, and it's finally coming. And I'm extremely hyped for that, because it's going to be so fun, and of course it's going to be Joy-Con control, so I'm going to be doing that for dang sure. And I'm hyped. Because you have 2 Joy-Cons, you should be able to play 2 players with this game right out the bat. That is the biggest advantage. One of the biggest advantages that Nintendo has with the Switch is because the 2 Joy-Cons, as them being separate, you can do 2 players on a lot of games right from the get-go. You don't even have to buy another controller. That is a pretty good advantage. And if you buy another set of Joy-Cons, then you have 4 players just like that. So it's not bad. For the price of a controller, you got 2 controllers.
That's a fair point, actually. I forgot the whole, as much of a joke, like, hey, go take your Switch up to the rooftop and to the basketball court and play with your friends, you actually can just go with a Switch and people can join. I did that. I went recently to a parents' or grandparents' 60th wedding anniversary, and there was cousins. They had a couple of youngins, and they had a Switch with them, and I think they were playing 1-2 Switch. Like, they hadn't bought anything. They only had 1-2 Switch because of the bundle.
Oh, wow.
And it was surprisingly fun just to go, hey, mind if I give it a go? I'm a bit of a gamer. They can just go, here's a Joy-Con, and you can just go. It's a thing, which is weird. Like, having that kind, like, before, with even Nintendo products, like, hey, do you want to play some Pokemon together? Sure, let me just go get my Kinect cable out of my box. Even though it's gotten simpler over the years with, like, Bluetooth and whatnot, being able to just pick up a Joy-Con and go, like that?
Yeah.
It's a bloody paradigm shift, and I mean that in the most literal sense. That is actually a big way of changing it.
That's the big advantage to it. And the Dark Souls remaster, or remake, it's remaster, right? That's the word they're using, remaster?
Yeah, Dark Souls Remastered.
It's just like Skyrim. Another big game that people really like,
No guns.
and you can play it as a portable. Like, what?
It's like Skyrim without guns.
Yeah.
Do you know the reference?
No, I don't know the reference.
You don't watch Machinima. Yeah, I'll tell you about it afterwards, but it's a dumb Machinima thing to do with Adam Kovic and a review. But anyway, continue.
But that's the advantage, is people are like, because the cynical thing is, oh great, so the Switch is a port machine, whatever. And it's like, no, that's awesome.
Yes.
I can play all these things that I could only play on
Dark Souls on a plane.
Besides The World Ends With You. Yeah, Dark Souls on a plane. Dark Souls wherever the hell I want. I can just lay back and play it. I don't have to be right here or sitting here. I can just literally lay back and play it. That's awesome. It's such a nice advantage there. And I really hope for motion controls, because that'll be hilarious. But, yeah, Dark Souls and Skyrim and there's ports of things. There's nothing wrong with that, because you get to play these things portable. Being able to play Skyrim portable. If you're a person who just travels a lot, that's
as an addendum,
same thing with Dark
portable
Souls.
without buying an obscenely expensive laptop to run it at a decent rate. Because, of course, the Switch version of Skyrim is the worst looking. The only thing worse looking than that is the VR version. But even then, it's still really fun.
Yeah. As always, they're not pushing graphics. Then Dark Souls is going to look good, but not as good as the other ones, obviously. But it's going to be portable, because if I remember correctly, they're going to make sure the frame rate is solid, because it needs to be.
Let's not do too many details, because looks like there's some conflicting information bouncing around. VatiVidya had to make a retraction on, turns out there isn't going to be a discount, even though some people thought there was going to be a discount on the price. Some other people reported there's going to be brand new assets in the game, a new lighting engine. Some people then saying, no, they aren't using the Dark Souls 3 engine. Yes, they are. No, they aren't. So all of the specifics are being juggled in the air right now. So I'm a little hesitant to go into that until we actually go for it. Because the Reddit post, for instance, just an example, Dark Souls Remastered will not be using new assets. Then there's a misleading flare. No new assets from the Dark Souls 3 engine. So does that mean they're making brand new things? Are they doing no things? It's a bit hazy right now, because the FromSoft isn't talking about the specifics.
Things like that I'm not really talking about any of that, because it is a remaster, and it's up to them what they'll do with those things. But they have to maintain a solid frame rate.
Fix Blighttown. That's all they need to do. About. Just fix Blighttown. That's it. Just fix Blighttown, and you've got my $60.
Because who the hell thought there was going to be a discount? Are you kidding me? Really?
I'd actually understand that. It's hey,
it's a remaster.
It's a remaster.
It's a remaster of a freaking popular as hell game. I don't think there's ever going to be a discount.
If they do a remaster for $30, I'd be into that, because even Metal Gear Survive, talking about pivoting for a moment, Metal Gear Survive, they announced the price of that. That's only going to be $40. They're doing that at a discount because it's a game with a lot of reused assets and a bit of a smaller scope than Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain. My
question about that is it really a discount? That's not necessarily a discount. It's just the price they've decided on.
I mean, it's not $60.
Saying anything isn't $60 doesn't mean it's a discount.
Yeah, because the whole season pass is. It's a budget. It's a budget priced game.
Yeah, that's a better way to word it than saying discount. Discount is just the wrong word to say, because there are plenty of really good games and their price point isn't 60 because it doesn't have to be 60, or it shouldn't be 60. Calling it a discount is not the best word, I feel.
That's true. It's budget price.
A remake of Dark Souls 1, I would not be surprised at seeing a 60. I would not be surprised at that at all. I'd be surprised at seeing it at a lower price.
They could get away with 60 though, absolutely. Especially with the Switch version.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd pay 60 for a remake of Blighttown. I'd absolutely pay 60. So Blighttown was a complete nonsense.
It's been so many years, I don't remember Blighttown being a pain in the ass at all. I don't.
So, Shoppy, it felt like you were moving through treacle in the original version. Admittedly, on PC you could fix it using DS Fix, but that caused other issues because a lot of games tie physics to frame rate, so if you tried to slide down certain ladders, you go right through the map at 60 FPS.
Yeah, I heard about that. Like, I did the game, and I know I did it with, like, when it was fixed, and maybe it was fixed well enough that I was fine. Because, PCs are all over the... Because I don't remember having any problems with Blighttown, but apparently it was a problem with Blighttown. Let's see here. Just talking about that really quick, there's not going to be any more Dark Souls, right? Like, they finished it with 3.
We don't know.
There's not going to be a 4.
They've said they're open to it, but they always like doing new things, so maybe we get a Dark Souls-like game that's in another time period, kind of like how Bloodborne was to Dark Souls 2. So instead of it being Soulsborne, it's like Soulsborne new prefix because they do a new thing. Maybe they go to the future, maybe they're present, maybe they do something new entirely, but it's maybe like The Surge, for instance, like recently came out, like that whole style.
Okay, because I want another Dark Souls, because why wouldn't I? I'm never going to be able to play Bloodborne,
I want to play that so bad.
Until I get a PlayStation, because it's only PlayStation, because they're the ones funding it, right?
Yeah, they funded it.
PlayStation's funding Battleborn.
Like how Bayonetta 3 is funded by Nintendo, so it's Switch exclusive.
Yeah. It's amazing how that happened, by the way. Bayonetta becoming a Nintendo character, basically. Because they're the only ones who are willing to fund it. And wow.
Hey, Bayonetta 2, we're having a hard time funding it. Put it on the Switch and we'll fund it entirely. Basically saved it.
Oh, yeah. And now it's on 3, and she's basically a Nintendo character now at this point. She's part of the crew.
Big pickup, though. Bayonetta 3 as a Switch exclusive.
And you can also buy 1 and 2. I don't know if they're going to be... Is there going to be 1? Okay, because I couldn't remember how they're going to do 1 and 2.
They usually do it 2 and you get 1 for free. That was the way it was on the Wii U. So they'll probably do it like that.
I think... I could have sworn, or maybe I'm crazy, but I thought it was going to be 1 and 2 as a game before 3 comes out, and then you get 3. That's what I thought it was. But because bundling that many games with one thing, we'll see. Because I'm not really sure on the details right now. But it's just 3. Bayonetta 3 is going to be on the Switch, and that's hell yeah. And that is a game that is going to be interesting because that should push the Switch to its limits. Because they're going to want to make that game as flashy as possible, but they got to maintain some sort of frame rate in that thing.
Yeah, that's a hard
It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how far they can take that thing. And it probably will be the best example of what the Switch can do from someone who's not directly Nintendo themselves. That's exactly what it'll be. And how well that performs should tell us what other companies should be capable of as well. That's what I'm hyped for sure.
I wonder, though, do you think we'll ever get to a point in the Switch's lifespan, because, of course, the Switch underclocks when you take it portable, that there'll ever be a point where some games have to say, okay, if you want to play this, you must play it docked? Or do you think that's going to be a hard line for Nintendo? If you want to cert with us, because, of course, they have a certification process, your game must be playable in its entirety, both undocked and docked, because people were concerned about the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro having like a ringed garden of games that you'd have to buy, but Xbox, especially Xbox with the Play Anywhere program, has said, no, if you've got a regular Xbox, not even Xbox One S, or X, just a regular Xbox, you can play the same games everyone else can. So is Switch going to abide by that, or do you think they'll be a bit more lenient?
I think they're going to have to be able to be portable, because it's been such an even split. Like, there are people who play it portable, there are people who play it like exclusively portable and exclusively as a home console. There are people who do both as well, like I do both. But every poll I see, it's been a pretty even split. There are so many people who like it as one thing or as the other, or just do both. And because of that, I would figure Nintendo will stick to it. Also, because Nintendo's stubborn, they would want the full functionality of their system to be utilized. So they would want to be, you have to be docked and you have to be portable. that is something I would assume, which you know what assumptions are, but that is something I think they would stick to, because Nintendo is a little bit rigid, and I think they'd be rigid on that for sure.
Mm.
As flexible as they are, they're also quite rigid. It's very interesting.
So I'm looking through things that aren't things we already know about in terms of what the talk next is. We've already gone off the beaten track as we usually do with like diverting onto like 2 or 3 different topics that we didn't even mean to. And something rather interesting popped up. I guess I glossed over this initially, or I've just forgotten that I've talked about it before. But Assassin's Creed Rogue announced its remaster at the same time as Dark Souls remastered. And for those of you that don't know, Assassin's Creed Rogue was meant to be the send-off for last generation. It was released just at the same time as Unity. Unity was the first next generation Assassin's Creed game.
Oh,
and it's
one.
actually really good. I played through it last year, Assassin's Creed Rogue, and it's really good. It's basically Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, but upgraded a bit. It's a bit less pirating, but there's a lot better story. It's played as from a Templar's perspective, or an assassin turned Templar. That's a whole thing. But they're remastering it. I find the timing curious that they announced it at exactly the same point as the leak for Dark Souls Remastered. I feel like that's kind of bad timing because it's Dark Souls Remastered. Like
that's the thing, is you never want to be at the same time, and I feel like it just happened that way. It just happened that way on that one, because there's no way they wanted that. Because let's not forget, everyone forgot about the game because of Unity, so nobody noticed this because of Dark Souls. Like, that's what happens. This game is cursed. It is cursed. Oh my god. But it has to be bad timing. These are like games that are both very popular, so it has to be bad timing.
I wouldn't say Rogue is very popular. Like, I mean,
no, I'd say Assassin's Creed is very popular.
As a series, popular. Okay.
Yes. Now, because of that, I'd say it's bad timing. If it was a smaller developer at the same time as a big thing, like this one happens, the big game does their thing, then the little one goes, they should have waited a day or something. Because the other way around, it's calculated. When Dauntless was putting their stuff up, Monster Hunter World would put their stuff up the same day, within like an hour or so, just to diminish some of Dauntless's fire. They would do that on purpose. Like, there was like a big beta thing with Dauntless, and then Monster Hunter World put their trailer out at the same time. And it had to be calculated. There's no way it was just bad time, because those are in the same genre. And Dauntless has only a few more months before we see what happens with Monster Hunter World hitting at the same time as them.
Yeah.
Because they are just PC.
You've played Dauntless a little bit, from what I understand, right?
No, I haven't played it.
Oh.
I haven't had a chance to get in there. All I know is it's a Monster Hunter kind of game, and they have a couple more months to get that thing there where they want it to be before World happens, because
a couple of
Monster Hunter
days.
World. It's only PC. It's not console.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean now. Right.
Yeah. So they still have time to cultivate what they are. They still have time for it. And we'll see what happens with Dauntless when Monster Hunter World comes out. Right now it's going to be on console. Well, the advantage is, because it's going to be on console before PC, Dauntless will have time to see what's on it.
And adapt.
And see what they can take from it or adapt from it and stuff like that.
I'd be more concerned how Dauntless survives, because I've heard there's been a lot of growing discontent for them moving off the roadmap. I guess they had a development roadmap come up a while back, and they just kind of went off the road for a couple of reasons, and people weren't too pleased. Like, Dauntless was the de facto shit on Twitch for about 3 days, and then it just kind of disappeared into the ether. Kind of like Fortnite before Battle Royale came along. Fortnite was the de facto thing to watch and play on Twitch. Believe it or not, Fortnite has another mode apart from Battle Royale, and then people like Admiral Baru and other big streamers were getting to the end and like, hang on a minute, this is a horrendous grind pay to win shitfest. I'm leaving. And then Battle Royale completely lit it on fire again.
That it did. Yeah, that's the problem, is that Fortnite itself, because I played a lot of it, like at least 100 plus hours with Jinx. We enjoyed the game a lot.
Which mode?
We enjoyed the loop. The original mode.
Oh, defend the world.
We enjoy the loop of it and everything. When you get later into it, it's getting grindier, and it's money's kind of important to just get the better stuff, or you can just grind it out. But The story's not finished or anything like that anyway, so it's kind of still out the way because it is early access.
I always forget that this is early access technically. Like it's not. It's going to be free to play, but it's out next year, and this is a buy-in.
Yeah. So yeah, it's free to play when it hits release, but right now, buy-in, and it's not finished. That's the thing. It's not finished, and then Battle Royale, or whatever. Battle Royale. Battle Royale? Yeah, Battle Royale comes out, and people are mad. They're like, "You're going to take development time away to do this?" And like, no, it's a different development team, so they both happen at the same time, and it's done really well. And I don't actually know what's happening with the original development right now because it's overshadowed by Battle Royale for sure. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I wish I did check it out at the start for sure, I suppose. I really wish I checked it out when they had 50 versus 50 mode. Apparently that was only a temporary mode they had, and that sounds hilarious. But I missed the boat on that one. That would have been fun to play.
I remember seeing that at the Game Awards being announced, and it was like, oh, cool, I should definitely check it out. Never did. I just
Because massive, okay, 100 people on a map, all fighting each other, okay. But 50 people fighting 50 people on a map, that sounds hilariously awesome, because we haven't seen that in a long time. The biggest was, Battlefront and Battlefield, they do 20-ish?
No, the closest approximate is an old game from the launch of PlayStation 3 called War. Now, that is a throwback game. This is a game, I think it was called War, but it was a release game for the PlayStation 3, and it was made by an Eastern team, and it was 50 guys versus 50 guys, and it was basically... If for those of you that understand this reference, it's what happens if you took Battlefield, smashed it with COD, and then smashed it into, what's the game called? Foxhole. One of the early access game on Steam, if you know what that is. And it was meant to, and also PlanetSide 2 in some regards. It was COD-style controls, Battlefield-style squads in terms of structure, but they tried to implement ranks and commands and commanders and some of soft logistics. Which, of course, in a game where it's, you jump into a fight, why are you going to listen to some random dude screaming orders at you? It isn't the military. So it was a fun spectacle thing, but it died surprisingly fast.
That's unfortunate. I feel like the way it should work is if you have to incentivize following orders, which means following orders gives buffs. That's probably the best way to do that.
Yeah.
Which would have been good. PlanetSide 2, you mentioned that. That's probably the best massive gunner game to do right now.
MMO
because you can have
game.
Tons of people at once. So that's the one to play still. But just seeing 50v50 would be great to see it more recently than...
Or even
it's been a long
50-50 Battle Royale is an interesting proposition because it's two squads lined up in the plane. You jump, or the bus in Fortnite's case. You jump out, and as you're flying down, you've got a bunch of your friends, but a bunch of those guys who are trying to kill you. So you're trying to land in a really specific way. Do you want to go and sit in a group and move as a death ball? Do you want to try and assassinate people? There's some interesting stuff that can come out of that. Instead of everyone's on their own, they sit in houses and pick off the occasional person who stumbles through the front door.
Yeah, because what's going to happen at 50v50, which is what makes it way more interesting than just 100, is you're going to have people just charging as death balls. And that's going to be hilariously awesome. There's still going to be people hiding. But initially, just a mash. And that's going to be hilarious. That's the fun part. I was thinking back on Battlefront. It was when Battlefront 1 came up, they were like, it's only going to be 20v20, I think, and people freaked out because the original Battlefront 2, the big one, that was 64v64, if I remember correctly. It was a big number. Big number. And Battlefront 2 is the same thing. It's only 20-ish versus 20-ish. And people just want to see something massive again. They want to see just massive amounts of bodies flying at each other.
Which leads me to another beta thing coming out around January. Sea of Thieves, which has had the NDA on it finally lifted, at least for the closed beta. You can't talk about anything from the previous tests, but the stuff that has been shown now, you can talk about it. I've been in the closed beta as a founder tier person for about a year. I got invited just from applying. And it is a game who so far has been extremely content lacking in terms of you could do two things. You could PvP in the open world, or go to islands, pick up loot, and take it back to an outpost. All of this is open PvP the entire time. And those are the only two things you could do. They're adding a lot more things which are in the flavor of Destiny in terms of 3 factions doing 3 different things that you can do, like either Elite Dangerous style trading, take things from point A to point B. That's another game I've been playing recently, Elite Dangerous. You could do either basically manhunting for skeleton pirate lords, which other people are also going for, or the traditional hunt for treasure with maps and riddles. And that game I've had a lot of fun with, but only in very specific scenarios when I found a good crew and we kind of RP'd a little bit, just enough to where it made sense. Like, no one argued about who was the captain now, because one person just knew their place. They were the captain, no one argued. Because that happens a few times. Like, no, I'm on the wheel. No, I'm on the wheel. No, I'm on the wheel. Don't be a shit. And then, like, you've got one guy manning the sails, or maybe 2 people, because there is, like, wind mechanics to make sure you can go fast. So, yeah, because you'll see wind trails in some of the trailers. That's where the wind's going. If you angle your sails into them at a certain acute angle, you will get a big boost in speed, and you've got to keep constantly micro-adjusting them for changes in the wind. So it's very much a battle of, you can't just have one person on the cannons and one person on the crow's nest, unless the one person you've got left on your ship, because it's a max of 4 right now on a ship, even though they're promising bigger stuff, you've got to have multiple people manning the sails before you get into combat. It's not like the Ubisoft game Blood and Skulls, the one where it's basically Black Flag without the Assassin's Creed, and it's in multiplayer. This is almost like Guns of Icarus, if you're familiar with that. And I had a lot of fun with Sea of Thieves, but you're going to have to make your own fun in some regards, and you're going to have the right people. Although, you can do schooners, which is like a smaller ship designed for 1 to 2 people. It's got 1 sail, 1 cannon on each side of the ship, smaller, easier to kill, but significantly faster and more maneuverable than the bigger frigate ships. So you can have fun on your own, but it's best when you've got a couple of lads. Basically, TLDR, I expect some of the best YouTube stuff to come out of this I've seen in a while, and then either it fades away or it blows up quietly, is my opinion of it.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, because I've been very curious about it. And did they have crossplay in the?
They are talking
beta?
about cross. Okay. They have talked about crossplay. Of course, I can't. Well, they have confirmed crossplay. They have confirmed that you can do crossplay. Yeah. There wasn't some of the tests that you could, for instance, you could just be on the PC version, on the Windows 10 version specifically, because this is a Microsoft exclusive game, and play with people on Xbox. And of course, there are some very, very slight advantages. Like, for instance, you could aim your pistol maybe a little bit better, but it's fairly even considering how the game's played. Unless someone somehow makes some sort of weird third-party app, which is next to impossible in Windows 10 games. Like, you can't break into that stuff. Where you could display a map on your screen, because even the mini-map, you have to work with someone to do it, because the mini-map isn't on your ship. It's not on your, like a mini-map. It's on the second floor of your ship, down below. So you got to have one person on a giant-ass war table scrolling around looking for the right place, and you got to call out hey, we need to go southeast a bit, you're about to plow into an island, mate. And that is very much a thing that can and will happen.
I feel like it's going to fall into the same fate as Guns of Icarus then, because it requires so much teamwork, and that's going to work for a hardcore few. Drop in, drop out, I don't know about that.
It's drop in, drop out.
Even with drop in, drop out, you're going to have people who aren't going to mesh well, and they're just going to be miserable. That's the thing. So I don't know.
There is VGS talking, there is, non-audio talking. You can do, if you're holding a compass, you could say, hey, we need to go southeast quickly, or we need to slow down right now. You can do that.
Okay.
But even then...
Maybe it'll be... I don't know. Because if you become too reliant on other players, it can be just such a mess. I don't know. Because I'm thinking about this, and also just thinking about Guns of Icarus, and thinking of just MOBAs in general.
This is slightly different, though. Guns of Icarus was instant PvP matches, kind of like Blood and Skulls, which Ubisoft is delivering. This is kind of an MMO. It's an open sea with islands dotted everywhere. There is no lobby. It's not 3, 2, 1, go, get a score, GG, well played. It's an open...
Well, there's not going to be a harbor, a hub harbor or anything like that?
Well, there are harbors in the sense of outposts, but they're bloody derelict. You go there to cash in a chest and then leave before you get jumped by someone else. There isn't a hub world. So that's why I said MMO with heavy quotation marks, because the only social experience you see is seeing another ship from the Crows and deciding, do we want to blow these guys up or not? No? All right, let's avoid them like the plague.
Huh, I'm not sure about this game right now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there are videos out there talking about it and showing off the game. And
Okay.
you can stream the closed beta. There's no NDA on it, so there will be stuff on it.
Is it fully narrated by Simon Pegg?
No, but the person in the dev team who does narration is almost as good as Simon Pegg.
Okay,
because he makes meta jokes in it. I find it humorous, especially the E3. Okay. Basically, watch the E3 presentations. It's chuckle inducing. I like it.
I'm glad someone did. So,
oh, you didn't like it?
It went too long. It went too long. I felt I was like, I can't tell if I like this or not when I was watching the E3 presentation, because it just kept going and going and going. And like, okay, we're still here. We're still here. I didn't like it all that much. Now, remembering, I didn't like it all that much. I'm like, it's still going. Like, the only thing I remember out of it was people just talking about how he was eating the banana wrong. That's it.
Yeah.
Just
have the skin.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Also, how are you floating with cannonballs, sir?
I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. I've been looking at it. I'm just curious, but I don't know if I'm gonna hop on that one. But yeah, you mentioned Skull and Bones or Blood and Skull.
Skull and Bones, I think it is.
Skull and Bones. It really sounds and looks like it's World of Warships, but with pirate ships. That's what it really looks like.
Yeah.
And World of Warships is really fun.
It's the same team, same engine from Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And it's literally the request that people always talked about. Hey, can we have Black Flag, but without the Assassin's Creed, please? That's literally what they're doing. Same controls, enhanced like wind stuff, different visuals, sort of, but same engine, same controls, classes, this, that, and the third.
If there's one thing I'd really want to see out of that, is just cannonballs just straight up just killing crew. And just, you're kind of just like, well, I have less people to manage the ship and stuff like that. That'd be interesting.
We haven't seen if they're able to, like, walk off and jump onto the enemy ship. We're not sure if it's Assassin's Creed-style controls or if it's, like you said, World of Warships.
Well, because there's a difference between modern ships and pirate ships is there was boarding. Yes. And that's what I'm curious about. Will there be boarding parties or not? And also, is there going to be ramming? Because
there is ramming. They showed it in the trailer.
Okay.
There are some ships designed for ramming, and they will mess you up.
Nice. That's what I want to hear. And then besides that, just boarding parties. Will there be boarding parties? And also, because pirate ships are different in that you lose enough crew, you can't manage that ship anymore.
I need to go find the trailer. Like, there is a trailer from E3 about this. I think it was 2 E3s ago, or maybe last E3. They showed off Blood and Skulls.
Everything I know is what I watched from E3. That's everything I know. And then a little bit of following, and then I did sign up for it. And just remembering what I saw from it, it is very much, reminds me of World of Warships. And I'm just curious if they're going to get very piratey about it, and that just how pirate ships work are just different. If you can blow their sails, like, that'll be interesting because, well, then, of course, their speed is not as good. If you can take out a good chunk of the crew, then they can't board as well, or they can't
fire the cannons well.
Yeah, a lot of things happen if the crew's dead, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested.
Could you one-shot the captain and instantly take out the ship because the captain's dead? Because there is snipers.
I would assume just worse logistics. Then I would assume. If it had abilities with like captain abilities, that would be interesting. So kill the captain; they don't have as many abilities. But I am just interested to see what it's actually going to be, because I am hyped for it, like a pirate ship battle game. That sounds cool. But I guess we'll see when it actually gets more out there, because there's only so much information on that one. There's always pirate games, and it's interesting to see. I really want a new Sid Meier's Pirates. I really want that, because the last one was 18 years ago, for God's sake.
I never played that. That was before my time.
Yeah, it's literally 2000. It was such a fun game. So I'd love to see new. We see plenty of Sid Meier's other things. I'd like to see a new Pirates game, because it was the pirate sim. That's what Pirates has always been. And so I'd like to see a new one in a new age. That'd be great. Besides Civilization, and Everyone's nuts on Civ. And I suddenly can't remember the other games that Sid Meier's has made somehow. Let's see, what else is there? Thinking
stuff that hasn't been hammered to death, like the Overwatch League. There are way better podcasts to talk about that, but we can like briefly brush over it.
We're gonna talk about it because you're an esports person.
A little bit, but I don't follow. All I know is the stuff that I've watched.
I don't want to talk about Overwatch. I'm talking about everything in general when it comes to esports.
Okay.
What the f*** is with the lack of women?
Now, this has been...
I am annoyed by this. I'm annoyed with it, though. Yeah, because of Overwatch. Because where are they? Because they exist. Where the hell are they? And my annoyance with it is women in gaming has always existed. They've always existed for as long as gaming's existed. We've always made it a boys' club because we're stupid. That's how I feel about it. Because it's always been marketed as a boys' thing, and girls play with dolls. It's always been marketed as boys play video games, girls play with dolls. Somehow action figures don't count. But women have always been there. They've always been playing games. Why aren't they in esports? Why aren't they there? And part of it is just the culture in that they don't treat women well. And it ain't right. But the bullshit excuses for why we're not seeing them in OWL, in the Overwatch League, was they didn't want to deal with co-ed housing. They didn't want to deal with somehow the team not meshing well because there's a female in there for some reason. The valid one I'll give for why they don't have Seyon is because she's Russian and they didn't want to have communication issues. But we see international teams get set up where they could have had a team of Russians or just people with some common language with her in there. Because the London team is composed of Koreans.
That's the joke with most of the teams. It's like, I mean, even Monte Cristo, one of the casters, called it out to do with, I think it was Dallas, or I can't remember which team it was. One of the American teams, which is made up of mostly Koreans and one or two Europeans. It's like, hey, guys, you can't chant USA for a team that's only 20% USA. What the hell, guys?
Like, the idea here was local talent. That was the entire idea. Let's have local talent, but instead
I'll let
of doing
you
that,
finish, but I have a counterpoint. I'll let you finish.
But it became, let's just bring in the best, and we'll just have them represented here or there. Because in actual sports, it's not local talent. In actual sports, San Diego's, not saying anymore, LA's teams, they come from all over the US. Their players come from all over the place. That's how actual sports is. But when we first heard about Overwatch coming up, we're like, okay, we're gonna have there's two California teams, aren't there? There's the Dallas team, there's all these teams. We're gonna maybe see local talent here, maybe see more franchises come up in all these other major cities and all this stuff. I'm going to see that. But instead, it's like all esports in general, all sports in general, which is just bring in from whatever country or whatever state, whatever, have them be here. And that's unfortunate because my feeling was we could see how good these areas are by doing it that way, and we can also maybe actually see some goddamn women in here. Instead, we just have, here's all the Koreans. And I just want to see a better variety and talent, because I feel like there are some great players who always get missed because of crap like this, and we are missing some amazing female players because of this in all esports, not just in Overwatch, because the support's just not there, and no one wants to deal with it. And the one that really pisses me off is we don't want to bring in a female player because it'll be seen as a PR stunt. That angers me. Like, then the barrier's never going to be broken. I don't want to see a five girl team to be the way the barrier gets broken. I want to see just have women in here, make an actual team that meshes. But no one's willing to try. And that is a frustration. So I want to see your side on that.
I'll talk about the whole gender thing in a moment and some specifics to do with a couple of tweets, but about the team naming first. The team naming, I understand where you came from when it came to the whole idea of, oh, hey, let's name them for the local players. To me, that wasn't what it was about, at least in hindsight. At the time, I believed in that. In hindsight, naming teams after local places is the only way to make people give a shit about the teams. Because if you say, oh, Cloud9 is facing Mouse Esports, for people in esports, that is a big deal. Because Cloud9, Mouse Sports are some of the two biggest teams in FPS. Yeah. But if you were to say, hey, Houston's going up against Dallas, all of a sudden, like, hey, it's like in wrestling. Hey, that's the name of my town. Yay! And you automatically cheer. There's been so many different tweets and accounts of people supporting and buying team jerseys, team skins for these players, having no idea who these guys and girls are, but just a team name. That's it. Just the location.
It localizes it. That's what it does. And that's exactly what sports teams are. Like, if you want to make it more mainstream, this is the way to do it. And Overwatch has pulled that off. By making it actual teams in actual places, they've pulled that off. Because that's what actual sports does. So that's a good move on them on that one, yeah.
But when it comes to the whole the gender thing, I am in two minds on it. I agree in terms of the general meta and the feeling around gaming and players that there should be more females. Because, of course, there has been recorded cases of even, like, for instance, in Smite, the place that I work, females try and come in and women try and, play and get on teams. It works for a while, but then either they're pushed out, ridiculed out, or annoyed by Twitch chat and the people at large just generally being dicks. But when it comes to the talent, and this is where it all sprang up, this whole controversy, was a couple of tweets from a few people to do with the lack of women on, for instance, the casting, production, that kind of thing. There was only one woman on the casting desk, I believe, or even just hosting in general. And they were like, hang on, what's going on? People in production and casting don't give a shit about, pardon my French, don't give a shit about what gender you are, what race you are, what color you are, whatever, if you can just simply do your job. Like, one of the best people in the world when it comes to presenting is Golden Boy. And he is Hispanic. He's I'm about to put my foot in my mouth here, but I'm trying to remember if he's Hispanic or if he's from Puerto Rico. I should probably look that up. I apologize sincerely. I believe he's from Puerto Rico, but he is, of course, a person of color. And someone tried to call him out in a tweet, and that's where this all started. It was like, hang on a minute, why aren't you taking a big deal about this? You're white. Like, no, I'm not, you utter idiot. Someone accused Golden Boy of not caring because he's white. Like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, when it comes to players, absolutely. But when it comes to the talent on, like, casting, production, they do not care about, like, a quota for people of color or gender. If you can just do your job, that's what they do. That's all they care for hiring.
That's what it should be.
But
that's exactly what it should be.
Players, you have a point.
I'm surprised, though, that someone thought Golden Boy's white. I just, where the hell are you coming from?
Yeah.
I don't even know. That's weird. That's just weird to me. Golden Boy's amazing, though. But Golden Boy is amazing. He is really good. He's just good. He's very good at just dropping into an area, like, because he goes everywhere. So he's very good at adapting to just other crews, and it's impressive seeing him cast. It really is.
He's mainly an FPS guy, and, like, for instance, HRX that just happened recently, the big high-res shebang. He did the Paladin stuff, and they brought high-res Kelly Link back in for the Smite stuff, and he could just go like a duck to water, and then he can go to a CSGO thing, or a COD thing, or a Halo thing where he was from. But he can do other events too, not just FPS. And that's just because he's bloody good.
Very much so. He's very impressive with that. Big Golden Boy's great. He's really good. For damn sure. Let's see here. Speaking of, HRX just happened. That was interesting. Yeah, seeing Kelly back, that was cool, because she's really nice.
Actually,
Kelly's amazing.
I want to ask you something. I'm about to stick my foot in my mouth here again, but with you this time. Are you from like Latin America sort of south, your heritage, or are you from Puerto Rico kind of thing? Have I just took my foot in my mouth quite a fair bit? Because you've talked about this before, and I want to get your perspective, because I'm white British male, so I want to see if I've got a different perspective than someone who is from a different part of the world. Because that does affect
you're not
things.
American white, so you're good. You're not American white.
Just British white. If anything, that means more, because we're the original imperialists. We colonized you bastards.
You took over everything. You're fine. You took over everybody. You're not American white. American white's the problem.
I'm not sure.
It's how it should work. Because I don't have a problem with you. I got a problem with American whiteys. That's what I'm kidding. That's getting cut out.
Rip.
No, come on. You're over there. You're not over here. You're not the ones oppressing people.
Yes. For real talk, what's your heritage?
The heritage is Mexican-Filipino.
Mexican-Filipino.
So I'm from two different sides getting effed over by the Spaniards. just taking on both ends. So yeah, Puerto Rico, you got it gets really weird about race stuff because it gets kind of dumb. Like you got like Trevor Noah, like one of his comedy routines is how he's South African and he wants to be very black. So while he's flying to New York, he's practicing being black. And when he gets there, he's like, "Yeah, I'm black now." And then everyone thinks he's Puerto Rican. He's like, "I'm not black. I'm Puerto Rican."
God, that
but
just
I'm from
reminded me.
Africa.
This is really dumb, but do you know about the whole
Race gets silly.
like Ugandan Knuckles meme?
Oh, Ugandan Knuckles is... I have actually not paid attention to it on purpose because, like, this is silly. I know it's apparently very racist. That's all I know. Apparently there's a lot of clicking and stuff. Like, I don't know about it. All I know is Dewey. That's all I've ever... Because you visually see that. But apparently it's very racist.
Yeah,
And I have not done anything to push into it.
On the one hand, like, in the way it's been done in VR, the video game it sprang up from was VR Chat.
VR Chat.
Yeah,
yep.
That game has exploded. And kind of low-key.
It has a root. There was a video that did it originally, and then it went on to VR Chat.
Yeah, people put the really bad Knuckles model in, and it kind of went from there. Yeah. As someone who likes to consider himself a fine connoisseur of memes, like, the whole Pepe being a white supremacist thing initially was like, whoa, what's going on here? But this I can understand a little bit more, because it's like, oh, the random clicking noises, are you the queen, spit on the queen, where's the Ebola kind of thing, like, from VR Chat. And that's causing a whole thing where people are saying, oh, VR Chat's going to censor us because they're going to get rid of the really bad Knuckles model, which is causing all of this. And people are running around doing the whole routine. And the whole...
wait, keep going.
So I was wondering if is VR Chat going to set a precedent of censoring a meme because it might be racist in a video game?
First, touching on Pepe. Pepe was just made by a guy, and then it was turned racist by the people.
Yeah.
Because there was no racial undertones to it. It was just a thing a guy made. So he sues everyone who's continuing trying to make... Everyone who's trying to make money off Pepe as a racist symbol, he's going after them legally. Because he can. Like, he's trying to stem the tide. Because he did not make Pepe to be a racist symbol. That's the thing. People ruined it, not him. The Ugandan... Knuckles, it seems from the start it was meant to be exactly what it is. And so, yeah, it's not the greatest thing. Now, as far as VR Chat getting censored, everything gets censored eventually. It's the Wild West is what VR Chat is. It is... The things I've seen from VR Chat is like, holy crap. At some point, because it's gotten so big, if VR Chat stayed as small as it was, nothing. But because it is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, we may see some sort of regulation to it. Just for them to not get in trouble themselves. It's business.
Now, when you say regulation, do you mean self-policing? Because I highly doubt this is going to turn into Battlefront 2 where the government's going to regulate it. But, yeah, continue.
It's self-policing. It has to be self-policing. And it's not necessarily censorship the way people think. Censorship is the government doing this crap. When a company does it, it's them making sure they don't get sued. It's them making sure they don't lead to someone getting killed and then legal shit happens. Like, that's what it's meant to be. It's covering your ass. Whoever's making VR Chat, they have to cover their ass. So if this gets out of hand, they'll have to do something about it. Now, if nothing gets out of hand, then they're fine. That's really what it is. It's making sure things don't get out of hand, because you don't want to be legally culpable to bad stuff, ever. You don't want to be the one who gets hit for something happening.
Or a PR black, even. Just like, hey,
exactly.
VR Chat's full of racists. See that on Kotaku. Everyone's going to freak out about the game.
But at the same time, anything as wide as it is, it's going to have literally everything.
Yeah.
It's going to have good people and bad people. And it's the question of...
There's already the questionable lolly-ish content in terms of anime characters.
God.
Like,
yes, there's a lot of it. There's a lot... From the things I've seen, there's a lot of it. There are... Okay, this will be the... I don't want this to be the last topic because it's terrible, but...
Getting real.
Literally, there are people rolling around just as anime girls and people crawling around under them looking at their panties. And it's like, are you kidding me? It's a Wild West situation, and they're all just laughing and having fun with it as far as we know. But it is also... they're having fun being creepy. Some people, like, it's obviously not everybody. Like, for some people, they're actually just doing things, having fun, doing silly stuff. But there are people who are doing it in very creepy ways. or just really racist things. And that's kind of the thing that happens when anything's allowed to be Wild West, is you're going to get everything.
Is this
You're
the
gonna
new
get all the
chat
good and all the
roulette
bad.
of, like, our time?
No, chat roulette is chat roulette. No, it is. This is the chaos of Second Life. Is what it is.
That's a better way to put it.
That's a better way to put it, because it's, and if it blows up to be Second Life, good for them, because Second Life is a crazy realm.
Second Life had some drama recently too. That old ass game had something to do with people stealing other people's content to put in loot boxes. It's loot box. How does a game that old still get into like weird stuff? But I know you said we were wrapping up, so I'll actually do a good topic to end us off with. Games Done Quick just went over $1 million and had some of the best runs I've ever seen.
Nice.
Specifically, the Jedi Academy 2 one. Everything from the bad games block, the awful games block, especially Arabian Nights, was hilarious. And also Resident Evil 7, the run of that was great. And I always love seeing that coming back. And the only thing from that was a little bit sort of ish, them going into sub-only mode for the chat for the entire thing.
Whole controversy.
Which I kind of agree with, because one, you're raising more money, and two, you're stopping people being shitheads whenever someone of like color walks on the screen, or someone who happens to be transgender, but like
not necessarily, because people were still being shitheads even in sub chat. They were still being shitheads. You can't stop shitheads from being shitheads.
Who's going to be a shithead if you got to cough up $5 first?
They were being shitheads that they did that. They're like, hey, I spend money and now I can be a shithead here while the rest of you can't be shitheads like me.
The idea just spams the chat now. It's like, release the plebs, talk for the plebs, donate for the plebs.
And just, people are going to be shitheads about everything and anything, because they can. They're capable of doing that. And so, it's still not a perfect system. But it does give them money by doing it that way. But all people did was they just made a side chat with, where people could talk, and those were happening, and that got really out of hand, and it's, shit rolls downhill. That's what happens. And it rolls down fast. And so that's what's happening there. I want to ask you about something.
Yes.
Because I was hearing about this. I don't know the full story. Because you have an Xbox X.
Yes.
Xbox One. It's a stupid name.
The Xbox.
Okay. They're having loot boxes? Like, they're just loot boxes in the system itself?
Wait.
Is something I was hearing about?
Loot boxes in what exactly?
For, like, the avatars or something for just the service.
Loot boxes for I don't know about that specifically. I know you could directly purchase clothes for your avatar, which is a system they haven't touched in a while. That was a big thing on 360. Yeah. But having loot boxes for avatars, I'd have to look into that and get back to you, because I haven't heard about that, and that isn't something that's massively advertised, if at all, on the surface.
Because I heard that for a moment. Like, I was just scrolling around, I saw that, I'm like, what the hell? All right, I'll ask Verb about that, because they have an Xbox, but okay. Because I'm like, we're getting more loot boxes?
I mean, that would be a good way of getting money. It's like, hey, if you got some money to blow and you're a complete idiot, hey, customize your avatar with a random roll.
Okay, we're going to end loot boxes all of a sudden. Polygon's article on how Overwatch's loot boxes
Okay,
right.
Before we get into this, how much runtime before Jinx starts killing us for length?
Let's say 5 minutes. Let's get it and get the hell out.
Yes.
Just Polygon saying Overwatch is doing loot boxes right.
50-50. I understand, for instance, the Jim Sterling or loot boxes, pardon my French, style. But at the same time, I'm also of the mind of, yes, this is predatory, and even with all of that, I'm willing to let it go if it is cosmetic and they put the right protections in place. If even they can put protections in. I know, for instance, with Overwatch, if you buy a lot of loot boxes quickly, you've got to put your information again to stop hacking. But maybe they could put up a message like, hey, addiction maybe is a real thing, please look out for yourself. But I'm not even sure what they could do there, like any real teeth to that without them actively stabbing themselves getting money. So both sides have valid things. Like, I've been perfectly fine with Overwatch cosmetic loot boxes. I've been fine with the way, for instance, For Honor does its cosmetics. It does, like, you buy currency to get it. And at the same time, I completely understand, hey, you can easily prey on people with this. You actively build predatory pricing, predatory mind, pardon my French, and all of that stuff. So it's, maybe it's just a case of how much am I willing to give a shit about in my brain, because there is so much stuff to be angry with. some of it just gets ejected, and this is the least offensive stuff to eject.
This becomes the problem with the internet in general. We're hit with a fire hose of information and outrage that we just cannot outrage at everything. That's how it is. I do like the standpoint of there should be no loot boxes at all. They really shouldn't be in the first place. But because they exist, Overwatch gets the pass because it's all cosmetics. That's what happens. Overwatch was able to help normalize it a bit. They really did. Love or hate that, they really did a good job of doing that. And if loot boxes are here to stay, then only cosmetic, yeah, fine with that. I'm liking currently the best one as HOTS doing how they do it. In HOTS, you get your loot box, and you can re-roll the loot box. You can re-roll it using some currency of the game to re-roll it, which you get from just playing the game itself. But you can re-roll the loot box if you didn't like it for a cheaper price. Well, not cheap price, for a price of gold.
I am actually not into that system of Heroes of the Storm because it preys on the I just got their system. There was a theory I heard bandied around, which probably isn't true, or to be fair, considering some of the things we've seen, it might be true, and that I agree with, is that HOTS deliberately weighs the loot boxes to be bad on the first roll, and then make it a little bit higher chance when you re-roll it to make you want to essentially use the loot boxes as a currency sink at the same time. So, like,
it's definitely a currency sink.
Yeah.
But the big problem is no one's transparent on what they do, and it leads to conspiracy theories like that.
Unless you're in China, in which case, as soon as you go there, for some mysterious reason, Rocket League, and we talked about this before, Rocket League and Overwatch got rid of the loot boxes entirely in terms of chance and just made them either direct purchase or you purchase credits and then get skins. Like they didn't want to reveal the odds so badly, they changed the system for China because China forced them to reveal the odds on the front.
That is bullshit.
Yeah, it's like Rocket League had loot boxes too.
Why can't we direct buy? Like, I'd rather have direct buy because
that's what HOTS used to have before the change.
They're just not willing. No, okay. HOTS had sort of
skins had like $7 each. Or like
you have the ability to. There's still things like that, but you have the ability to get stuff though, buy these loot boxes, and not actually just have to spend money. That was the nice thing, and also to unlock heroes for way cheaper. But the fact that they were not willing to reveal odds, China, you're kidding me? Because China has the worst loot box buying problems in history. They've been the worst for decades. They will spend so much money on just tat. Oh my god. Just MMOs make so much money in China. They've been doing loot boxes in a big way for a lot longer than the West has, and they make so much money on that. The fact they're not willing to reveal the odds is ridiculous. Because it doesn't matter what the odds are, China would have bought them anyway. I think they're not willing to show it because they'd have to show it to the West as well. That's really what I feel with that one. Just, loot boxes, cynically not happy with them. But HOTS is the best one I will go with because I have a lot of gold to waste. So I'm fine with it. I have 40,000 gold. I can waste gold. Because I play that game too much.
Okay.
You do quests every day, which gives you gold, so it's pretty nice. But if you have to have it only cosmetics or like boosters are in there, whatever. But if it's ever for power, which was Battlefront, they deserve all the bullshit they got for it.
Yeah.
And Happy Topic, AGDQ got all that money. Got $1 million. There you go. Happy Topic to end this thing.
Yay, cancer research. Good runs.
There's so many things to be angry about. There's so many things to be happy about.
Just put the Kirby on camera. Everyone will be happy. Just, yay, Kirby.
There's a lot of good out there. There's a lot of really good games and everything, and we got a lot of good games coming up. Dragon Ball FighterZ, Monster Hunter World,
A Billion One Betas.
Oh yeah, I've got Battalion. Was it Battalion? Yeah, Battalion 1944 is coming up. I'll be doing that one. I'm just really hyped for Dragon Ball FighterZ and Monster Hunter. But there's a lot of really good stuff. I can't wait to see A Way Out. And is it going to be this year? That PlayStation game. The really popular one, The Last of Us 2, that comes out this year?
Hopefully, although it's probably going to get pushed back to 2019, I imagine.
Probably. So there's always a lot of great... 2017 was amazing for games. It was just really crappy with loot boxes near the end. That's really what it was. We had so many amazing games. Crap sakes, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey. You had Zero Horizon.
It was the year of Nintendo. Nintendo knocked it out of the park.
It was very much the year of Nintendo. There were good things all over the place as well, but Nintendo did a very good job. And we'll see how they do this year in 2018. And there's just a lot of good games, and we'll see how it shakes out. It's just too bad the controversy keeps happening, and it's really with like loot boxes and with season passes. It's very unfortunate with these practices to try to just get more money out of us. You know what? Screw it. Everyone buy a Nintendo. They don't do that bullshit.
At least until the next kind of bullshit they do, in which case it all switches around again. It's a cycle. All right,
They don't.
we've
but they don't
gone
do
over like
games as a
half an
service.
hour at least. We need to stop before Jinx cancels the episode on principle.
Yeah, so that'll be it for the basically a podcast. It's gaming's awesome, everybody. So we got Verb here, and all your information is Verbalosity at Twitch, Twitter,
YouTube,
anything else?
YouTube technically, but there's
YouTube.
a the underscore technically, but sorry, there's a the because someone is sitting on Verbalosity, but. We do the same thing every time. Universal branding is a wonderful thing. I get to laugh at Scarf because he has like 2 or 3 different variations.
Yes. But yep, so there you go. This has been Basic Podcast. I had fun talking, people watching and listening. That's what's all about it. Having fun, thanks for coming by, and see you next time.
Oh, this happens every time. Bye.